Story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides on political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebunlomo Adekunle. In our major story, Rochas Okorocha of the APC has been declared winner of the just concluded governorship election in Imo State. Taraba APC governorship candidate Aisha Alasan rejects poll results, says the party will challenge results at the tribunal. Also in this program, President-elect Muhammadu Buhari says he will look into the alleged unremitted $3 billion NNPC money. And outside Nigeria, 10 cities have sprung up for those displaced by the earthquake in Nepal. The incumbent governor and All Progressives Congress candidate Rochas Okorocha, having met the demand of the electoral law and scored the highest number of votes, has been declared winner of the Imo State 2015 gubernatorial elections and therefore returned into office. Okorocha polled a total of 416,996 votes to defeat the People's Democratic Party's candidate Emeka Ihedioha, who polled a total vote of 320,705. Party agents and supporters went into singing praises to God as the declaration was made by the returning officer Ibidapo Obi at the Imo INEC headquarters, Owerri.
Rochas E. Anayo Okorocha of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared the winner and returned elected. Signed, Ibidapo, 26 April 2015. Thank you very much.
Senator Hope Uzodinma, representing Imo West, and his sister were arrested for alleged electoral malpractices at Omuwa Oru East local government area of Imo State by a combined team of policemen and soldiers. The senator, who was later released in self-recognition, allegedly mobilized hoodlums who set bonfires on the road to prevent the security men from taking away the suspects. It took a reinforcement of soldiers and men of the Department of State Security to rescue the policemen and take the suspects to the police headquarters in Owerri, where they were detained. Also, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Job Doma, arrested 25 officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Imo State for alleged thumbprinting of ballot papers during the election rerun exercise on Saturday. Also arrested were fake INEC officials who posed as returning officers at the Collation Center. When contacted, the police public relations officer, Andrew Ewirim, said he had not been briefed on the incident. Okoezie of the People's Democratic Party in the Abia governorship rerun has been declared winner in the Saturday make-up election in Abia State. The PDP candidate, who had polled 248,459 votes ahead of his All Progressives Grand Alliance, Alex Oti, who scored 165,406 votes out of the 439,454 total votes cast during the April 11th polls, eventually returned elected after the Saturday supplementary election. The rerun was held in 2,299 polling units across 9 local government areas in the state. Darius Ishako of the People's Democratic Party has won the Taraba supplementary governorship election held on Saturday. The returning officer, Kiari Muhammad, who announced the result on Sunday in Jalingo, said Ishako scored 369,318 votes to emerge victorious. He said Senator Aisha Alasan of the All Progressives Congress came second with 275,984 votes, while Chief David Kente of the Social Democratic Party polled 29,966 votes. The returning officer says there were 1,461,645 total registered voters in the state, of which 787,516 were accredited for the election. Mohammed said the total valid vote cast were 681,166, while the total votes rejected was 174,131. It was recalled that the April 11th governorship election was declared inconclusive by the Independent National Electoral Commission due to widespread irregularities. INEC on April 25th conducted supplementary elections in 218 polling units in 10 council areas of the state. The All Progressives Congress governorship candidate in the just concluded governorship election in Taraba State, Aisha Alasan, has rejected the results of the polls as announced by INEC. Addressing a press conference in Jalingo shortly after the announcement of the results, daylight robbery, she described it, and said the party would challenge the results in the election petition tribunal. She contended that results ascribed to Kari, Dunga, Takum, Saudana, Zing, Yoro, Kurmi, and some part of Usa, Karim Lamido, Bali, Ardo, Kola, and Lao local government areas were not acceptable as they did not reflect the true results of the election in Taraba. Alasan said all the complaints on the irregularities and abuse of the election guidelines were promptly reported to INEC, but no action was taken. INEC returning officer for Taraba, Kiari Muhammad, who declared the results on Sunday in Jalingo, said Ishako scored 369,318 votes to emerge victorious. The supplementary poll held in the 22 polling units of Eleje Major constituency in Ekiti State was greeted with low voter turnout. The election was declared inconclusive due to violence that erupted on the 11th of April, which also saw a heavy presence of security forces, something most people say is responsible for the voter apathy witnessed in the supplementary poll. Rashid has more in this report.
The supplementary poll is being held at 22 polling units cutting across Ekiti, Iludun, Ewu and Edaunio, part of the towns making up Eleje Major constituency. Being a rerun in few polling units, all attention was shifted to the area in terms of mobilization and security. With these arrangements, however, low turnout of voters were recorded in polling units visited at the time of accreditation and voting. The unruly activities of some security agents, particularly Department of State Securities, did not help matters.
You want to fight the media? You want to fight with security? Let them come and arrest us. We're here. We're here. If you don't want camera, no one don't wear the SS shirt. You know what in there. Me, we carry mine. We carry camera. We know what in there. To bastardize this whole process. Very simple.
The All Progressives Congress were quick to attribute low turnout to the intimidation by security agents, but the PDP is handy to exonerate the security forces of any wrongdoing.
There have been a lot of shootings overnight all through, and this has created a lot of panic and fear in the minds of the people.
Why they shooting bats? When you hear gun in the night, someone must be hunting in the bush. Do you see blood in the town? Don't leave that alone, my brother.
Even as voting and counting done, candidates expressed their reactions to the whole process.
The people's will should be allowed to prevail. What happened 2 weeks ago is least expected, when PDP agents and thugs were kidnapping ballot boxes. We don't want all these things again. Let the people decide whom they want.
Because of the issue of the thuggery, which, our opponent promoted during the last election, but today the security help us. A lot of people are coming now, even though it's low, but we want the quality rather than the quantity.
With the last constituency in Ekiti House of Assembly election concluded, attention will now shift to other burning political matters, especially the impeachment fever which has gripped Ekiti State for some time now.
You want to fight with security?
Rashid, CoreTV News.
President-elect Muhammadu Buhari on Sunday said his administration would take a second look at the claim by former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, now Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, that $20 billion that was supposed to be remitted by the NNPC to the Federation account could not be accounted for. Buhari said this while receiving a delegation of party supporters and newly elected officials on the platform of the All Progressives Congress from Adamawa State at his campaign office in Abuja. The president-elect, who spoke in the local Hausa language, expressed surprise that instead of probing the allegations by the former CBN governor, the authorities chose to fire him. According to him, since Sanusi's claim was documented, his administration will take a second look at the document when he assumes power on May 29th. This is against the background of a pronouncement by the Minister of Petroleum Resources, Dezani Alison Madueke, that the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has started refunding the unremitted $1.48 billion into the Federation account. While expressing gratitude to the visiting delegation, Buhari, in response to several questions, said his administration would work in tandem with the manifesto of the APC. A legislative advocacy group, Friends in the Gap Advocacy Initiative, has decried the growing number of former state governors in the National Assembly. Executive Director of the group, George Orji, said in a statement issued in Abuja that the trend could lead to a complete takeover of the federal legislature by former governors. Orji noted that Nigerians should be concerned that the numbers of ex-governors rose from 6 in 2007 to 11 in 2011 and now 16 in 2015. He wondered why, after 8 years as governors, they are now scrabbling to get into the Senate. Rochester Okorocha of the APC has been declared winner of the just concluded governorship election, as we have read earlier. But to come, we have 10 cities have sprung up for those displaced by the earthquake in Nepal. Stay with us. We'll be back after this break.
Any tribe that rules has solid rules.
Rule number 1, friends stay close. Friends in the tribe, stay closer. Feel me?
Rule number 2, in the tribe, you always know what's up with Facebook, WhatsApp, Phoebe, and Twitter. Guess what? It's free.
Rule number 3, there are no rules with SMS. It's endless. Yes, boss.
Rule number 4, enjoy very long conversations with that special someone.
Enjoy endless connections to your friends with free calls, free WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, and BBM. You also enjoy up to 200% bonus on your recharges to call all networks. Migrate now by dialing *312# and start to live endless connections.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Many thanks for being there with us. If you're just joining, it's the CoreTV Primetime News, and here are our major stories. Rochas Okorocha of the APC has been declared winner of the just concluded governorship election in Imo State. Taraba APC governorship candidate Aisha Alasan rejects poll results, says the party will challenge results at the tribunal. President-elect Muhammadu Buhari says he will look into the alleged unremitted $20 billion in NPC money. And for more on CoreTV News, you can visit our social media platforms. At Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG. On YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV with a space, then news. The police in the Federal Capital Territory have recorded major successes in the bid to stem the tide of crime in the capital city. They have rounded up a number of suspects during recent raids on criminal hideouts. Helen Chukwuike has more in this report presented from our studio.
These are some of the suspects the police say they picked up in recent raids on criminal hideouts. Spokesman for the FCT Police, Andrew Maza, said the arrests were the fruit of a joint security collaboration with inputs from residents. He also urged the public to continue to share useful information that would lead to more arrests.
First and foremost, what you have seen is a combination of a collaborative effort between the police and members of the public. The Commissioner of Police, even Wilson Aleti, wants to appreciate the members of the public who have been very, very supportive. Policing is a collective responsibility, and it involves all of us. It's not just an affair that we should leave to the police alone. The public is part and parcel of it.
This is one of the suspects paraded. He's a fake military officer from Oredo in Edo State who claimed to be a lieutenant colonel.
How long have you been wearing the clothes?
2013.
2013, you've been wearing
I'm not wearing it, I just put it in my car just to pass when I'm going, just for passing. I don't wear it, you can see it's not my size. I just put it in the car.
And as for this fake police inspector from Benue State, her obsession is the respect she gets from junior police personnel each time she shows up in uniform at functions.
I don't wear it. Even the day they arrest me, I don't wear it.
Okay, until when they went to go and search your house?
They said I should go and
You went to and bring the uniform?
They sent somebody to follow. One of the policemen to follow me.
Where do you sew it?
I saw it at Yaya Market.
Yaya Market. You bought the clothes and sew it at Yaya Market.
These are suspected robbers who admitted to the crimes they were held for. They also owned up to the arms and ammunition recovered by the police.
What did you do exactly?
After we left, if I don't come back, we can't go back.
Recent one, so that I want to go and do verification whether we can get in this inspection.
You don't join military?
Air Force man, corporal.
I had this an Air Force friend. So, I normally visit the base. They do ask me for gate pass, and I asked him, please, I need a gate pass. He said, okay, that's no problem. You're going to help me to do a gate pass.
Military man?
Yes.
Do this thing for you?
Yes.
You not talk through.
Basking in the euphoria of this arrest, the police in the FCT say they are bent on ensuring that the nation's capital is one of the safest parts of the country.
Nigeria's recalled its High Commissioner to South Africa, Martin Kobam, and his deputy, Uche Okeke, in protest against continued xenophobic attacks in the country. Foreign Affairs Minister Aminu Wale said in a statement that the envoy were summoned for consultation on the violence. He added that the invitation was meant to get more facts on the situation on ground. Meanwhile, South Africa has expressed surprise that Nigeria has recalled its High Commissioner and his deputy over the recent spate of attacks on foreign nationals in the country. Its Department of International Relations said in a statement that Nigeria is the only country that took the step of recalling its ambassador in the wake of xenophobic attacks in the former apartheid enclave. South Africa accused Nigeria of exploiting what it described as a painful episode to push its own agenda. The government said it remains committed to a strong bond with the country, but would raise its concerns with the incoming administration next month. The recent attacks on foreigners in South Africa has continued to generate reactions from everyone and apart from condemning the act, former boss of the ICPC, Justice Mustafa Akambi, has accused the South African government of negligence as it calls for compensation for the victims involved. Rashid has more from Ilori.
The news of the attack on foreigners in South Africa has since been condemned everywhere, with different opinions from government and organizations across the world. For the former boss of an anti-graft agency in Nigeria, ICPC, Mustafa Akambi, the act is not only despicable, but also shocking to know that South Africa can turn around to attack countries which helped her through the apartheid period.
But for a country that had suffered under colonial rule, it's not the right thing to start overnight and ask people to quit and leave, because they also have interests in other countries. For instance, I understand the DSTV here in Nigeria is controlled by South Africa, and if we have to react in the way they did, things will be very bad.
In the face of looting and loss of lives, Akambi calls for compensations from the government of South Africa to the victims affected by the xenophobic attack.
They are able to pay compensation for people who have lost their property. Unfortunately, if a man is killed, you can't revive him, you can't bring him back to life. But I think those who are involved in these activities must be dealt with seriously by the government of South Africa.
While the victims now count their losses after losing much of what they have labored for, labor leaders in Nigeria have urged the labor unions in South Africa to help stop the attack.
There's a global condemnation of this particular situation. So I believe that NSC, as they are reaching out to their colleagues, even in South Africa, because these are workers' organizations to themselves, and they need to protect the workers there.
We are enjoined with the rest of Nigerians to say that such an attack is not good on Africans. We are all part of those who fought for the apartheid. We are all those who fought for the independence. And I mean, by the time they start chasing Nigerians away, and we Nigerians here start chasing South Africans in Nigeria away, it's not gonna be the best.
With government and organizations taking active steps, it is hoped that the experience of foreigners in 2008 and what is happening now will be the last to be heard of in South Africa. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilori.
The Bring Back Our Girls group has launched a monitoring initiative to keep track of assurances by the National Security Advisor, Sambu Dasuki, on the rescue of the Chibok girls before the May 29th handover date. The NSA, on the first anniversary of April 14th, 2014, abduction of the schoolgirls by Boko Haram, expressed optimism that it would be back on or before the handover date. But speaking at a news conference in Abuja to announce the initiative, the protest movement noted that there are no indications that the military actually knows the whereabouts of the abducted girls. The men of the Boko Haram have killed several soldiers in Duso community in Niger. A security source said that the Boko Haram members invaded a military camp in Buso through a riverine community early in the morning. It was stated that the insurgents stormed the camps from different angles and killed some of the soldiers and injured many. The source said that the Nigerians suffered a heavy casualty because the soldiers were not on their lot. They were said to have been relaxed because of the feeling that Boko Haram members had been either wiped out or weakened. The Ministry of Defense of Niger was reported to have confirmed the unfortunate incident. The 36th Kaduna International Trade Fair opened at the weekend amidst a low turnout. The fair, which has a its theme is promoting domestic production for national sustainable economic development, was declared opened by Kaduna government representatives. Amina Anebi has more in this report presented from our studio.
The trade fair is the brainchild of the Kaduna State Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, KATSIMA. But unlike previous editions, the turnout at this year's fair is quite low. This did not deter the organizers.
The theme for the 36th edition is promoting domestic production for national sustainable economic development.
The Kaduna State government is hopeful that the fair would open up the local economy to more opportunities.
We are happy to once again play host to investors, entrepreneurs, corporate organizations, as well as captains of industries from all over the world. You are welcome to our peaceful city, and I want to assure you that Kaduna is ready for business.
The federal government officials and members of the Nigerian business community were also on hand to offer words of encouragement to participants.
This enables the government to partner with the private sector in formulating the implementation policy and program geared to developing critical trade support infrastructure.
Your Excellency, as you declare open the 2015 Kaduna International Trade Fair today, our prayer remains that this year's fair provides a desired platform to showcase to the international community the existence of abundant human and natural resources in Nigeria.
The trade fair venue looks deserted on the opening day unlike previous editions, but the organizers are hopeful that more participants would sign on in the coming days.
The city of Abeokuta is one of the major towns in Nigeria, and one of its most distinguished features, which attracts tourists from far and near, is its distinct touch of adire making. In this special report, Olajumoke Olatunji takes us into the world of adire making in the ancient city of Abeokuta.
The ancient city of Abeokuta is one of the many towns in Nigeria. Aside from being the Ogun State capital, it is also the seat of the Ogun State government. Aside from being the choice of destination for many tourists and lovers of African fabric, popularly known as adire, which has gained its recognition as an African phenomenon and also an integral part of the Igbo culture. Join me as I take you into the world of adire making here in Itokun, Abeokuta. The Kenta Adire Kampala market, Itoko, is probably the largest tie and dye market in West Africa. The market, which is just a stone throw from the Luma Rock, is one place where local artisans and traders mingle with customers to find a bargain. What greets anyone on arrival at Itoku are sites of neatly arranged adire fabrics with captivating designs ready for purchase. The combined smell of the various chemicals employed in the manufacture of those African designs can also not be ignored, but one does not get to see where the smell is coming from, as the main production process goes on behind the rows of shops, which has on display assorted adire fabrics, which include tie and dye, eleko, batik, and oniko. To catch a glimpse of the production process is like the proverbial camel passing through the eye of the needle, as marketers are reluctant to show anyone what they refer to as trade secrets. However, with persistence, the reporter was able to gain access to the production arena, where you are confronted with labor force comprising both men and women of all ages. Despite the decades of the existence of this African phenomenon, the process of making adire has witnessed little or no change.
Oríṣiríṣi ni wọ́n máa ń ṣe. Ẹ̀ta bá kọ́kọ́ ti fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ báyìí, àwọn àkọ́kọ́ bójú ní sáàndà yìí, wọ́n máa dì. Wọ́n lè ti dì tán, a máa wá kó sínú àrò. Irú oríṣi kọ́lọ̀ tá bá fẹ́ gbé ni. A ti mọ kọ́lọ̀ yìí tó ń bá kọ́lọ̀ kan mu ti yàtọ̀ sí tí ò bá mu, èyí tó bá purple mu, tó bá green mu. A ti mọ̀. A kàn dé máa kó wọn sínú àrò náà, máa dárò yẹn, máa ṣe àwọn chemicals yẹn. A máa dá wọn pọ̀ mọ́ra wọn. Èyí tí wọ́n ń ṣe yìí àti ọ̀rẹ́ kan pátápátá, mo wá fẹ́ fi starch sí. Bíi pé kí wọ́n fẹ́ lọ aṣọ. Ẹ̀wọ̀n tí wọ́n bá fẹ́ lọ aṣọ, wọ́n máa ń fi starch díẹ̀ sí aṣọ yẹn kó lè rí bí dán. Òun ni nǹkan tí olóòtú à ń ṣe lọ́wọ́ yìí. A ti parí ẹ̀ báyìí. akọ̀dẹ̀ fi sáàṣì ní sí ká wá sa síta abára sa tán á ṣe wá lù.
After the production process, the next stage was with the woolen, used to iron out the already made Adire fabric. For sales and distribution, Howlett Creative is a drum-making business, especially here in Etopo.
Now a bit slow because of the Boko Haram situation, the security situation in Nigeria, and the exchange rate. The exchange rate has really affected us. Things has gone up. The clothes has gone up. Dye, the prices are up. The solvents, all the chemicals that we use, they've gone up from 1,006 now. Before we used to have 1,400, 1,500, 1,300, but now it's from 1,600. Let's say 300, 350, 400. Yeah. If there is sales though.
For many residents of Etoko here in Abeokuta, the art of Adire making is one that is here to stay and will be passed to unborn generations. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Abeokuta.
We'll take another break now and return with sports and other stories from outside Nigeria. Don't go away.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball, storming, Toyol with a flying lead.
Go, taking them out in the lead
In the sporting world, Chelsea will have to keep the champagne on ice for at least a week after their seemingly inevitable progress towards the Premier League title was checked by a goalless draw away to Arsenal on Sunday. Had they beaten their London rivals at the Emirates Stadium, Jose Mourinho's men would have travelled to Leicester City on Wednesday, knowing that victory over the resurgent Foxes would have been enough to secure Chelsea's first English title since 2010. Sunday's fiery clash ended with Arsenal going level on points with second-placed Manchester City, with both clubs 10 points adrift of Chelsea, who, like the Gunners, have 5 league matches left to play this season. The way in which Chelsea captain John Terry celebrated the results suggested the Blues, whose side featured former Arsenal star Zé Fábregas, had gained far more than a point. Chelsea midfielder Oscar was taken to hospital for scans after hurting himself in a collision with Arsenal goalkeeper David Ospina during Sunday's 0-0 draw, manager Jose Mourinho revealed. Ospina clattered into Oscar after the Brazil playmaker had lobbed a shot over him midway through the first half at the Emirates Stadium, leaving the Chelsea player flat on his back. After receiving treatment, he returned to the fray, but was taken off at half-time, with Didier Drogba going on. Real Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti believes his side have a better chance of retaining the Champions League trophy than denying Barcelona the La Liga title. Los Blancos squeezed past Atletico Madrid to reach the last 4 in midweek and were rewarded with on paper the easiest draw as they face Italian champions Juventus in the semi-finals and have the second leg at home. However, they also remain in the hunt for La Liga, just 2 points behind Barcelona with 6 games to go. Madrid also have a tough run into the La Liga season, starting with a trip to Celta Vigo on Sunday, and Ancelotti accepted they can have no hangover from their efforts against Atletico if they are to maintain any chance at the title. Japan's Kei Nishikori claimed his second consecutive Barcelona Open title on Sunday with a hard-fought 6-4, 6-4 victory over Spaniard Pablo Andujar. Andujar had upset Rafael Nadal's conqueror Fabio Fognini and David Ferrer on his road to the final and made the perfect start by breaking the world number 5 serve in the first game. However, Nishikori broke straight back and then sealed the set by breaking once more in the 10th game. The second set followed a similar pattern as Andujar moved into a 4-2 lead, but Nishikori then upped his level to race through the final 4 games to seal his 9th career title. Towering Tyson Fury could be the next man to challenge Vladimir Klitschko for his heavyweight titles. Klitschko, who beat Brian Jennings on points in New York on Saturday night, said after the victory his next bout was likely to be a mandatory WBA title defense against the Briton. The Ukrainian was widely expected to face American Deontay Wilder, the WBC champion, in his next fight, but he said on Sunday morning, in his words, "I just got the news that I am obligated to satisfy my mandatories." Klitschko holds the WBA Super, WBO, IBF, IBO, and Ring Magazine belts. Added, "The way it looks, Tyson Fury is going to be my next challenger." Fury is undefeated after 24 fights, of which 18 did not go the distance. He is 2.06 tall, which will give him an 8-centimeter height advantage over Klitschko, who is normally taller than his opponent. And outside Nigeria, 10 cities have sprung up for those displaced by the earthquake in Nepal, which is now reported to have killed some 2,500 people. Many residents of the capital, Kathmandu, lost their homes as a result of the tremor, and others are afraid to return to their homes, especially after strong aftershocks hit the region on Sunday. It is thought hundreds of thousands of people in central Nepal have been spending a second night outdoors. The tremor also unleashed avalanches on Mount Everest, which killed at least 17 people and injured 61 others. Efforts to dig victims out from under the rubble of collapsed buildings in Kathmandu have been continuing. Rescue missions and aid have started arriving to help cope with the aftermath of the worst earthquake to have hit Nepal for more than 80 years. The situation is still unclear in remote areas, which remains cut off or hard to access. And that's it on the Primetime News tonight. Before we go, a recap of our major stories. Rochester Okorocha, the APC, has been declared winner of the just concluded governorship election in Imo. Taraba APC governorship candidate Aisha Al-Hassan has rejected poll results and said the party will challenge results at the tribunal. President-elect Muhammadu Buhari has said he will look into the alleged unremitted $20 billion NNPC money. And it's a wrap tonight. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Ebuloma Dignley wishing you a pleasant night rest.